guys, Constance here. Welcome back to A Good Life Farm. So I am bringing you here into the kitchen to make a sort of a sweet recipe that my family absolutely loves, and it's something I've had on my website for years. I've been making this since I was a newlywed, and that is pumpkin bread. Now I know there's a lot of debate as to whether pumpkin or apple are the #1 flavors of fall. I have done a survey twice now. Both times it has come back overwhelmingly as being apple as the favorite. However, I do love pumpkin too. And so this pumpkin bread is just, it's moist, it's delicious, and you will absolutely love it. And this recipe makes 3 loaves, so you could enjoy a loaf now, you could give a loaf away, and you could freeze one for later. Or you could just have one for now, freeze 2 for later, whatever you want to do. I will say that when I would make this while my kids were growing up, 1 entire loaf would be gone before the loaves had even cooled down. So it was kind of good that it made 3 loaves, because it would just vanish that quickly. So it is a favorite, and I'm sure your family will love it too. So I'm going to don an apron and I will get started. Alright, so to get started, I'm going to need 2 mixing bowls, 1 big bowl and then kind of a medium-sized bowl, or whatever you got handy. Let me set that over there for now. So first I'm going to measure out my dry ingredients into my kind of smaller bowl here. I'm going to need 3 cups of all-purpose flour. And then to the flour, I'm going to add my seasonings. So I'm going to need some cinnamon. I'm going to need some ground cloves. I'm going to need some allspice. And I'm going to need some nutmeg. So the cinnamon, I'm going to need a teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm going to need a ½ teaspoon of ground cloves. A ½ teaspoon of allspice. And I'm going to need a teaspoon of nutmeg. And you can use pre-ground nutmeg if you like. It's convenient for sure. But I really like to use freshly ground nutmeg. I'm going to need 2 teaspoons of baking soda. One and a half teaspoons of salt. Then I'm just going to whisk all of these dry ingredients together real quick. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I have the oven heating up over there to 350 degrees. So I started preheating that before I started making everything. All right. I'm going to set aside my dry ingredients for now, and now I'm going to work on my wet ingredients. put this away. Set that over there. Okay. So in my mixing bowl here, I'm going to start with 4 eggs. And I always break my eggs into a separate container of sorts, whether it's a bowl or just a measuring cup or what have you, before I put it into my mixing bowl, especially if there's already ingredients in there, because the last thing you want is to break open a bad egg and have it have broken into your ingredients, because then you've just wasted everything. So this way, if there's a bad egg, and it's really rare around here because we have farm fresh eggs all the time and my oven's heated, but it is known to happen from time to time. Okay, 4 eggs. Okay. Now I'm going to add in 2 cups of solid, just cooked pumpkin puree. Now you can use the canned pumpkin, you could also use homemade pumpkin puree. I have a tutorial video and blog post on how to make it from scratch using your own fresh pumpkins. It's actually pretty simple to do, so that is definitely an option if you want to do that. And by the way, all of these pretty pumpkins you see this time of year, those like Cinderella pumpkins and all of those, they're totally edible, you guys. You can absolutely use those to make your pumpkin bread, pumpkin pie, all of that. So if you've got them out for decoration and then you're kind of done with that decor and the pumpkins are still in good shape, definitely don't waste them. Now I'm going to add in a half a cup of oil. Now I am using extra virgin olive oil. You could also use light olive oil, you could use vegetable oil, whatever you prefer to bake with. And I'm going to put in a half a cup of applesauce, just plain unsweetened applesauce. Next, we're going to put in 3 cups of sugar, and I know that seems like a lot of sugar, but this is 3 loaves of pumpkin bread. And we're just going to whisk these all together. And of course you can do this with your mixer. I just kind of enjoy doing this by hand. So let me grab my other whisk. This one works a little bit better for whisking batters. Okay, that is whisked together. So now I'm going to add my dry ingredients into the liquids. And I'm just going to whisk these until they're nice and smooth. So I've got one thing left that I'm going to put in here, and that's some chopped pecans. And for the pecans, you could use anywhere from a half a cup to a whole cup of pecans. It just is according to your taste and how many pecans you like in your pumpkin bread. Just stir those all in, and then I will gonna put these things away and grab my loaf pans. Now I have 3 loaf pans here. I've actually got 2 of my cast iron ones, and I'm going to use my new speckleware one here. And I'm going to coat my pans. Now you can either grease and flour them, you could use baking spray to coat them. I have my baking spray replacement that I use. I brush this on all of my baking pans. Nothing ever sticks, not even in bundt cake pans. And I have this on my website, how to make this. It's super simple. This jar will last me for months and months. And like I said, it works really well. And it's more economical than buying baking spray or anything like that. I just brush it on my pans. If you are watching this on YouTube, I will have a link to that recipe in the video description or pinned in the first comment. And I do really like these natural bristle brushes, but they do occasionally shed a bristle, so you have to kind of watch it, because the last thing you want is one of these bristles in your baked goods. I have some of those silicone brushes, but I just find that they don't do that great of a job of giving a good coating for something like this, because the silicone bristles are very thick and they almost act like a squeegee, and so you get a lot of streaking when you're trying to coat something. So that's why I kind of prefer these natural bristle brushes, even though, like I said, they do occasionally lose a bristle. And you've got to get it out of the pan. That's, you know, not the end of the world, I don't think. Then I'm just going to take my 3 pans here, and I'm going to divide the batter in between all 3 of the pans. And you just want to get them as equally divided as you can. Sometimes I'll actually measure, do like a 1 cup measuring cup, and just scoop into each one. But as long as you get them as close as possible, it should be good. And these will go into the oven for 1 hour. And to test if they're done, you'll just stick a toothpick, a wooden toothpick in there, a wooden skewer. And as long as the skewer comes out and there's no wet batter on it, they will be good to go. So we will head to the oven with these. So the pumpkin bread is done baking, and I'm just going to let it cool in the pans here for about 10 minutes, and then I'll go ahead and remove them and I'll let them cool here on the rack. Alright you guys, so that is how you make this super easy homemade pumpkin bread with or without pecans, just depends upon your preference. As always, I have a printable version of this on my website, and I will put a link below if you are watching this on YouTube. And while you're there on the website, check out the over 700 recipes that I have there for you to enjoy. And be sure to sign up for my free email newsletter that will keep you up to date on everything that is happening on the homestead, whether it is a recipe or a new video or anything else. So thanks for joining me here again in the homestead kitchen. My name is Constance at A Good Life Farm, and I'll talk to y'all next time.